Welcome to another dusty day in the shop. Today, you're getting a tour. To start, this shop is a one-car garage attached to the house that my wife and I are currently renting, and it measures just shy of 12 by 19. So while I'm showing you guys my layout, I'll probably show you some of my tools and what I think of them. And to make this video a little bit more interesting, at the end, I'm going to show you guys some woodworking memes that I made. We'll begin in this corner with the 6-inch buffing wheel that I have on a mobile base. I have to move it every time I use it because there's no outlet over here. The buffing wheel works pretty good for what I need. It's nothing fancy, it's from Harbor Freight. My tool buying philosophy is I'd rather put my money toward a tool where precision matters, whereas here it's just a spinning wheel. This old shelf I made houses all of my, actually it used to house all of my paint cans and bottles and all that stuff, but now, as you'll see as we walk around the shop, this is only about a fifth of it. But it's still a somewhat nice place to keep all of my cans and bottles for glue and stain and stuff like that. On the pegboard here, I have some hand tools that I don't use as often, like chisels, pliers, wrenches, stuff like that. Next to the pegboard is my motivational whiteboard, where I have this quote where I first heard it on Bob's channel, I Like to Make Stuff. I'm not sure if he's the one that came up with it, but the quote is, "Get better every time." I like quotes that are simple and to the point, and not too cheesy. So if you have any good quotes that you like, let me know down in the comments below. My clamps and my clamp rack are things that I should probably invest a little more time and money in, but for now it works. I think I bought these 4 F-style clamps from Harbor Freight. I got this one for 25 cents at a yard sale. And the rest I was given by friends and family. And I have them hanging on this 1/2-inch EMT conduit electrical pipe thing because that's just what I had laying around. I have a 10-inch sliding miter saw. It works well for what I need. This is another Harbor Freight purchase where if I were to buy one now, I probably wouldn't get this one, although I will say I'm surprised with how well this has held up. I've had it a few years now and it obviously needs some tuning out of the box, but again, I am surprised with how well it's held up. I actually just discovered a couple days ago that it has an adjustable depth stop feature, which is nice because I'll need that for a project that I have coming up. I have it sitting just below the work surfaces so that everything is flush. I like this design because it allows me to work on long boards. I've seen some people make mobile carts with the wings that fold up, which I think is pretty cool, but I think for me and my purposes going forward, I think I'm going to stick with this kind of layout. Down here I've got my 6-gallon air compressor tucked away in a nice little spot where I'm not tripping over it. In the center of my shop is my DeWalt 745 table saw. Again, it works well. It's obviously not ideal for breaking down full sheets of plywood like I would like it to, but for a job site table saw, it works pretty well. It has the rack and pinion fence system that I like, so it's accurate. I have it on this mobile base that I've built. I also use it to store table saw accessories like the feather board, push sticks, and even a first aid kit. I built the stand so that it's level with my outfeed table, which is actually just a shelving unit, but I use it as a work surface for now. And underneath is my dust collection system for the shop, which is just a 12-gallon shop vac that I have hooked up to a dust separator. My dust separator is only 5 gallons, so I definitely want to increase the size of that soon. But again, for now it works. Behind the table saw is my scroll saw, which has been with me since day one. I don't use it much anymore, but I can't get rid of it now. And underneath I have some jigs for the table saw that just kind of end up being They kind of just get piled up over here. Next to that is probably my favorite tool in the shop, my lathe. It's a jet lathe. I'm not sure the model number, but it's a jet lathe that I got used. It's got a 10-inch capacity, so realistically my widest bowls that I turn end up being closer to 9 inches. But again, it works great for what I need. I have the extension bed on it so I can turn longer items. If my shop were to go up in flames and I could only save one tool, it would definitely be this. But knock on wood, my shop does not go up in flames.
What are those?
What are what? All of these? Mm-hmm. These are all my turning tools. So depending on what I'm making, whether I'm spindle turning or turning bowls or whatever, there's a tool for everything. A tool for all sorts of different cuts. I have a lot of them. I think if I were to eventually move into a bigger shop, I would like to have this situated away from the wall and turned around so that my back was to the wall with the tools behind me and the lathe in front of me here. But and for now, for the sake of space, I think it makes more sense to me to just kind of push this up against the wall for now. Immediately next to the lathe is my grinder to sharpen all of my lathe tools. So obviously it's nice to have those next to each other. I put up these couple of shelves just to help handle all of my junk. Got more paint and glue over here, and a bunch of bowl blanks. A lot of these rough turned ones were actually my grandfather's that I got when he passed away. And someday when I eventually, hopefully, have half the talent that he did, I would like to complete them. Over here is my router and router table that I got off Craigslist. I am constantly scouring the interwebs for good deals. And so I picked this up a few years ago. No complaints. I have it on this mobile base that I picked up from Goodwill for 20 bucks. So that was also another good find. It's got plenty of drawers, and again, it's nice to be able to move it because I usually do when I use it. And of course, next to that, water bottles. If you're not drinking water when you're working in the shop, come on.
Come on.
Come on, guys, be sure you're drinking water when you're working in the shop. The door to the backyard, door to my kitchen, door to the attic where I keep all of my bodies. Lumber. All my extra lumber gets stored up there, so we don't need to go up there. This is one of the more recent tools to be added in my shop, although I've had it for a little while now. It's my floor standing drill press. I like it a lot so far. I bought it because I never want to buy a drill press ever again. And so I think this will last me for many, many years. I built this drill press table for it, which houses all of my drill bits, little sanding attachments, and all that kind of stuff that I can put in the drill press. The very first video on my channel is of me making this workbench. It's pretty simple construction. I'm pretty sure you can make the whole thing with just a circular saw if that's all you have. I've added this little phone holder over here with a phone charger. A lot of times I'll just leave my phone in there. It's got this clear acrylic front, so I can always see and check my phone. And I hook it up to my Bluetooth speaker. Got more storage here on the pegboard where I keep things that I use more frequently, like combination squares, Sharpies, compasses, all my protective equipment, all right here. Underneath is where I store all my junk. My 5-foot pipe clamps fit perfectly down here as well. Some more safety stuff. I have a fire extinguisher, you never know. And I have a second first aid kit down here as well. I think I generally like to keep my first aid kits closer to the ground because if there ever was a serious accident, I'm probably going down. So in my mind, it's within reach that way. Next to the workbench is my not so great bandsaw. I bought this used and It's missing one of the bottom guide bearings. It doesn't cut straight. So I don't use it as much. If I had a halfway decent one, I'm sure I would use the bandsaw all the time. But this one just does not work out very well for me. But I do have it on this mobile base that I built. I keep my belt sander, or it's actually a belt and disc sander combo. Another cheap tool I bought, again, it just needs to spin the sandpaper. It doesn't need to be super accurate. So I think it's the Wen model. If that were to crap out on me today, I'd probably just buy the same thing. It doesn't need to be too fancy. Although down here on the ground, where I don't have a dedicated space for it yet, but it's my rigid 13-inch planer, which I absolutely love. I hope to build some kind of mobile cart for it one day and build it into a longer table for more in-feed and out-feed support. Up here on these shelves, which again are mobile, I keep a lot of my nails and screws and my doweling jig, other random lumber, but also stuff for my car. All lives right here on these shelves. The fourth and final wall is actually the garage door. Mostly dead space, but I did make a video on making my fishing rod holder storage doohickey. So those live here. All over my shop floor, since it is concrete, it is a garage floor. I have these anti-fatigue mats that I'm pretty sure are meant for little kids' playrooms or even probably home gyms. But they fit together like puzzle pieces, and I picked these up from a nearby discount store. It's a lot better than standing on the concrete floor. For lighting, I really like these 4-foot long shop lights, which I think are pretty common in shops. But I do have all sorts of different light sources and mostly just other random lamps in here. But I think my next lighting upgrade would just be to get a lot more of those 4-foot lights. You guys, I spent all day cleaning up this shop so that I can do this tour. Don't let it be for nothing. Go down there right now and give me a like if you enjoyed this video. If woodworkers are anything, we're good at adapting. If you don't have the right tool for the job, there are several ways around it usually. And I think the same idea applies to your shop space. If you don't have the biggest space in the world, you get creative with mobile solutions or multi-purpose solutions, stuff like that. To some of you, this one-car garage is a huge space. To others, not so much. What matters more is what you make of it and how you lay yours out. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of the future projects that I make in my shop. And as promised, here are some woodworking memes. I am no master meme maker, but enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one.